that has been in some very contentious conversations, and you wanted to just know how can you de-escalate these type of conversations without losing your authority as a leader. This is the day that we're going to talk about this. This topic specifically impacts so many leaders, and in this video I'm going to share with you some priceless strategies that I have learned over the past 20 years as a C-suite executive, a manager, and a director, and a public speaker that will help you be able to de-escalate these very contentious conversations when they come up for you as a leader and still be able to maintain your leader presence. Now, if this sounds like a topic that you are interested in, you absolutely want to watch this video to the very end because I'm going to share with you a lot of guidance that will help you on your journey. Now, this is more of an advanced topic. On my channel specifically, if you are new to me or you are a subscriber, I'm glad that you're here. This topic is definitely more advanced, and this is for the individuals, the people on my channel or watching this video that perhaps are a bit more seasoned in their leadership experiences, and they've been in those hot seat situations, and maybe you've been in one and you just wanted to know how you could do better. So before we get into this topic, this is a live video, and if you're watching this portion of the live, you're more than likely watching the replay. Give me a few moments, because typically on YouTube there's a point in time where the audience will join the conversation. So give me a few moments to say hello to them, and we're going to go right into how you can de-escalate these challenging conversations as a leader and be able to still maintain your authority. This topic specifically is very, very common, and I want to know from you, how many of you have ever been in a very contentious conversation as a leader and you were able to de-escalate it? Let's start there. You can put it in the comments below. Or maybe you've been in a conversation that was very contentious and you have not been able to de-escalate it. What happened? Let's talk about that. My role is to equip you with the strategies, skills, techniques, insights that I've used over 20 years to help me be able to communicate at an advanced level and help you be able to do the same. So I want to say hello to Pankaj Singh. Hello, hello. How are you doing today, friend? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Pankaj says, hello, miss. How are you? I'm doing fantastically well, Pankaj. It's so good to see you and have you here on the channel again. I appreciate your support. I'm doing well. Today is Friday, so Friday is always an amazing day. Whether it's a rough day or not, it's always a wonderful day because we're about to end the week and we're about to get to the place where we're starting the weekend. So Pankaj says, which car do you have? So the car I have right now, the vehicle I'm in right now, is a Jeep Gladiator. So I have a Jeep Gladiator and I have a Porsche Cayman also. All right, so we have Karen Faresi. Hello, Karen. How you doing today? Karen, you're new to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. So Karen says, good day. As the head of HOA today, I decided to have all the rose bushes on my street removed. I'm allergic and therefore everyone must pay. Sorry, not sorry. Well, it's tough. Karen, I appreciate you being here and stopping by. Let me know what part of Big Beautiful World you're joining from. The rose bushes, I understand how that could be potentially a contentious conversation, but perhaps there is another type of decoration setting or something like that that could potentially be placed in lieu of the rose bushes. Maybe something to consider, but I'm glad that you are at least in a better place because we don't want you to have a medical emergency because of rose bushes. So I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're able to get that figured out. Pankaj says, Porsche is my favorite. Yes, Porsches they're really nice cars. I do have a Cayman, so it's a good car. It's a very reliable car and I enjoy it. I'm not in the videos with it as much just because there's a couple things that I have to do driving wise with it, and I have to be pretty focused on the road. When I'm in my Jeep Gladiator, it's a bigger car, and so you probably have seen my Jeep Gladiator on my channel, on my post, because I recently wrapped it and did that not too long ago. So yes, I appreciate your insight on that. Bishop Burton says, good morning, my sister, Bishop Burton. Good morning, Bishop Burton. How you doing today? So, Bishop, I wanted to let you know before we get into the topic today, I did do a video for you yesterday, and we talked about how to not feel intimidated when you are in a room of veterans. Bishop, this is a good video for you to watch. Take a look at it. It's on the live for last night, and I did give you a shout out in the video. So take a look at it. Let me know if you have any questions. I can talk about that topic as long as you need me to. So just let me know. But I want to know from all of you who are here, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here today. Let me know what part of the Big Beautiful Word you are joining from today, friends. And have you ever been in a situation as a leader where you've been in a challenging conversation, discussion, and you need it to de-escalate, but you don't want to lose your authority as a leader? This is what we're talking about today. Bishop Burton says, okay, thanks so much. You're so welcome, Bishop. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're here, and I'll support you in the way that I can. So when you're in these situations where you have to de-escalate a conversation, a challenging topic, a discussion, whatever the case may be, there's a couple of things that I have noticed over the past 20 years of me being in senior leadership roles as a C-suite. I've interacted with congressional leaders on the national level here in the United States at some of the highest levels of our government. And there's a couple things that happen that I want to mention to you before we even go into de-escalating. Because oftentimes what happens when you're trying to de-escalate a conversation or a situation with someone, the biggest mistake that I see leaders make is that they do not know when the conversation is escalating. Why is this so important? I can tell you all day, this is what you should say, this is how you should say it, and etc. But what if you don't know that this conversation is escalating? Then everything I share with you will not help you, because you have to know, when is this actually escalating? When is this escalating? So let me give you an example. And I'm going to give you an example briefly, because I do want to talk to you a bit more about strategy-wise how you can de-escalate and still maintain your authority. I have a lot of content here on my channel, especially on my live tab, for those of you who are regulars like Pankaj Singh and Bishop Burton that are here today, that I talk about these very advanced level communication strategies specifically to help you go to that next level as a leader. There's content about communicating under pressure, managing your emotions under pressure, your tone of voice, your eye contact, all of that. All of that is on my YouTube channel. So take a moment to take a look at some of those videos, because that will give you the fundamental blocks that you need to start being able to communicate at a higher level than your peers. Now, when it comes to de-escalating and why it's so important for you to know when a conversation is escalating, because you will not be able to de-escalate calmly as an executive and as a leader if you do not know when it's escalating to begin with. So I'll give you an example of a conversation that I have had I've had so many contentious conversations over the years I can't count. But I'll give you just a brief example of a conversation that I had, a mistake that I made when a conversation escalated, and this is why I want to share it with you. I was having a conversation with a peer, and this conversation with the peer was held at the wrong time of the day. I've talked about this on my channel, but I'll go into that if you want me to. And the conversation I had with this person was something that they did incorrectly. It wasn't correct in terms of what they did, and we were having a conversation about it. The problem was that I came into the conversation as being very, very friendly, very cordial, which I am. However, what happens some of the times is that in our minds, we still are being friendly, but we almost take ourselves off guard. Does that make sense? And so you communicate with someone like you're having a conversation. And what happened in this situation, which I can't go into a ton of detail on in this live, is that the conversation escalated quickly. And it escalated so fast that I did not know how to manage it. I really didn't. The person became very, very aggressive in terms of what they were saying and all these type of things. Why do I mention that? Because I made the mistake. And Brad Stevens, 1976, welcome, friend. How you doing today? Good. Welcome back. So this is something that I wanted to, hold on just a second. Brad said something very inappropriate, so I have to take him off of the channel. But this is the reason why I want to share this with you, because this is something that if you do not know when it's escalating, you're going to have a hard time de-escalating it. It happens all the time. So what can you do? What are some signs that you want to keep in mind when you are noticing a situation is escalating? Let me know in the comments below. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone where you found that this conversation is going to escalate or is in the process of escalating? What are some of the subtle cues that you started to notice when a conversation started to escalate? Let me know in the comments below. If you've ever been in a challenging conversation as a woman in leadership, perhaps as a man in leadership, when did you see that the conversation was about to escalate? Let me know. I'll share with you a couple cues that I observe. There's a lot that I've observed, but I'll share with you one or two. But I want to make sure we're learning together as a community, because we've all, as leaders, been in different situations where we've seen different scenarios happen. So I'm curious to know your insights on that. Some of the, I would say, very general cues that you can keep in mind when the conversation is about to escalate, meaning that this conversation started here and it's about to go up here. This is something I see often. Many times people will change how their facial expressions are expressing themselves. You may notice people start to look at you with a scowl. Maybe their eyebrows go down, like they're looking angrily at you, like they don't understand what you're saying. That's one. Another is that people's lips will start to change. They will start to purse, as we say. You may notice them, instead of maybe smiling and talking to you as normal, it may be a situation where they start to frown, or they start to put their lips together, because the reason they are doing those facial expressions is because their mind is signaling to them, I'm upset and I am mad. But they're trying to contain it as best they can. But if you're subscribed to my channel or follow my content, then you will automatically be set apart from everybody else, because you're going to be able to manage these, because you're paying attention to what they're doing. So their facial expressions will give you cues that a conversation is about to escalate. Now, sometimes facial expressions may completely be missed. Their tone of voice may change. Most of the time when people start to escalate, their voices may go up, or you may be surprised their voices may go down. All of these subtle cues, and as I mentioned, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cues that you can have that will indicate to you that this conversation is about to escalate. You just have to be very observant in terms of what's going on, which is the first strategy in terms of how you can de-escalate a conversation without losing your authority. So I want to say hello to Jaya G4R. Hello, how you doing today? Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. For those of you who are joining, let me know if you've ever been in those very challenging, contentious conversations where you needed to de-escalate. And if you did, what happened? Let's talk about it, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching live right now. So I shared with you the very first strategy to de-escalate those type of conversations is to know when the conversation is escalating. This is the most common mistake leaders make, because we are just simply not trained to have conversations under pressure. And we also are not trained to pay attention when a conversation is going to escalate. I've been in conversations that have been very friendly and they have escalated fast, immediately. And I didn't really know what to do. But now, being in these leadership roles, in these different situations I've been in, I can de-escalate very quickly, or I can de-escalate and get the person out of the room or out of the situation, whatever the case may be. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that as much as I can with the time I have with you all today. This may be a topic we go into more detail on later this evening, but knowing when a conversation is about to escalate is the most important way for you to learn how to de-escalate. So Bishop Burton says, good morning again. I got pulled into a civil conversation between brothers in the church. The volume went from 0 to 10 within seconds. I had to quickly get a handle on this situation. Absolutely. And so Bishop Burton, I appreciate you mentioning that. So, excuse me, what Bishop Burton just mentioned specifically is exactly what happens when conversations can escalate. People really truly underestimate how quickly a conversation can escalate. Just as Bishop Burton said, the conversation between the brothers went from 0 to 10 within seconds. Sometimes, Bishop Burton, those seconds, it may be a second. It just depends. It's just a matter of being so observant in the conversation. And I would really appreciate to hear more about what you did to de-escalate that conversation, because as you mentioned, you had to quickly get a handle on it. Exactly. You have to get a handle on the conversation quickly. And this, leaders, is a really great example that Bishop Burton mentioned about how you can de-escalate a conversation as a leader and still retain your authority. So another thing that I want to mention to you all, and if you like this content so far, this is providing you with some insight, some things for you to think about, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I talk about this type of information and more advanced level communication strategies and skills every day on my channel. And if you are in my direct target audience as a woman in leadership and you're trying to navigate how to manage these conversations and you need some additional support to help you elevate and earn more income in your career, reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below. Or if you're not my target audience, you're a man in leadership or you're just starting to learn about leadership, then you're going to learn a lot of great information here. And ask me any questions that are related to professional situations, and I'll be able to provide you with some insight that will help you. Jaya, appreciate you letting me know about where you are in terms of your age. So this topic is so important, okay? This is so important. And one of the things that another aspect of de-escalating a conversation, specifically as a leader, we talked about you have to know when it's escalating. You have to know, you have to pay attention, be very observant in terms of what's going on. What are people saying? What is their body language saying that their mouth is not willing to say, and pick up on it very quickly. Another strategy I want to share with you very briefly as it relates to de-escalating a conversation without losing your authority. And there's a lot I can share with you, leaders, on this, a ton. I could talk about this literally all day because I've been in so many conversations like that. But there comes a point in time in the conversation where, and I'm sorry, the sun is very bright here, but there comes a point in time in your conversation that you're having with someone where you have to be that person that says, I'm taking control of this conversation, if it's very contentious like that. And just as Bishop Burton just mentioned, excuse me, a moment ago, he had to get a handle on the conversation. And so this is what I would share with you also. There comes a point in time where you're going to have to get a handle on this conversation. And I can't tell you when in a conversation that is actually going to happen to you. I can't tell you that exact time. Only you know when that time is happening. I will share with you, I've had a conversation, it's been a while, but I had a conversation with someone who was upset about something that happened at a job I was working at. And it didn't have anything to do with me specifically. It was just a process, a protocol that this job specifically had, and and etc. So the person was upset, and they had every reason to be upset. However, what happened is while they were upset, they decided that they wanted to speak in a bit of a louder voice. And when I tried to communicate with them, they would not let me communicate at all. And I had to let them know that, okay, are you going to let me finish speaking? Because this conversation is not going anywhere if I'm not able to speak. And what happened to that person, what did they do? They stayed silent. And that's how you de-escalate a situation without you losing your authority. I happened to be there because I was in a leadership role, but it wasn't, the situation didn't deal with me specifically. People tend to get me for the hard things, for the hard situations, the hard conversations, the difficult clients, the difficult patients, the difficult things. And I'm okay with that because I've been in those roles and I'm comfortable dealing with those situations. Excuse me. But as I mentioned, there comes a point in time in a conversation where you have to say, I'm in control here. I'm in control of this conversation, and we're going to be able to have a discussion, or we're going to have to part ways. And this is something, as I mentioned, I can't tell you when this happens. You will find that time. Just as the bishop mentioned earlier, Bishop Burton mentioned earlier, there is a point in time where the conversation that happened with the brothers escalated, and he had to get control of it. He had to retain his authority to say, okay, no, I'm the bishop. Like they're in your church. This is my church. This is, okay, we have to stop this. This is going to be a best way for us to stop this conversation. We have to get a handle of it. So this is really the way that you are able to de-escalate conversations without losing your authority. Now, there are so many other aspects of de-escalating challenging situations that I want to share with you that I can't share with you right now, but I will likely go into it in more detail later this evening during my live. So if you are new to me, I appreciate you being here and spending a few moments out of your day with me today. I talk about these very advanced level communication skills and executive communication skills strategies every single day on my channel. If you like this information, you absolutely want to subscribe to the channel, because this is where you will learn. And I don't guarantee a lot, but I guarantee you, if you are someone that is at a leadership role, whether you are in my direct target audience that I provide executive coaching and consultation services to, that are women in leadership, or maybe you're outside of my audience and maybe you are a man in leadership, or someone that's not in a leadership role just yet, you will gain some value out of this channel. You will gain some insights. There will be something that you learn that will help you to communicate at a higher level than your peers, that will also help you be able to earn more income, be able to accelerate your career growth, and make that big impact that you're trying to make on the world. So I want to know from you. Let me know what questions you have about this topic. You're welcome to put it in the comments below. Or if you are watching any of my other videos and there's something that you saw and you want to learn more about, then let me know. Put it in the comments. We'll talk about it. I will do a video just for you about this topic. Bishop Burton, I've done a couple videos for him already about topics that he had that were very good topics for all of you to consider as you are trying to elevate how you are communicating. And I've done videos for other of my subscribers as well. So I'm here to support you as much as I can on your journey. I look forward to seeing you later this evening in the live, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.